Hey, welcome to Metal King Studio. I have something very exciting to show you. This is a pretty casual video shot on my phone, and I just really wanted to get something out because the sample for the new plastic set for Relicblade has arrived. The factory sent me, this is a test shot of the new mold for a new Battle Pig set that will be coming early 2026. And I wanted to show you, look, we've got all these beautiful detail, these pig heads. There are 5 different pig bodies to represent the pig warlord, the raider pig, a shield pig, an axe pig, and a soldier pig. And then there are also some variant build options depending on what you want for your little pig warband. And this set will be coming out in a new box set that I also have samples of. So this is a sample of the box that's coming. Look, I even got a barcode ready for us. A box, character cards. The cards have been updated with new rules to make them a little bit more competitive as a faction, and a rule book that is focused specifically on Battle Pig. So it has lore and tactics and a couple of cool scenarios, including some solo and co-op scenarios to play through. So 44-page book, instructions on how to build, that is also a poster that you can hang in your office. And they sent me 2 frames, so I do have one assembled. I'm going to give you guys a close-up look at some of these new figures. This is the Raider Pig. In the new rules, the Raider Pig is getting an additional action die, so he's much faster than the other Battle Pigs, so specialized in that. We've got an axe pig. This one can be built as a shield pig if you want. We've got a shield pig, and this one can be built with the sword or with a cudgel if you want to give him the cudgel upgrade card. And a soldier pig. This one can also be built as an axe pig, holding a 2-handed axe instead of the halberd. And the warlord. One cool thing that has changed is with the switch to plastics, I couldn't sell you guys models that don't have a tab with the slotted bases that I've been using for the last 10 years. So I actually also got molds made for official Metal King Studio bases. So look at that, we've got a little maker mark there. It's pretty cool, I think. Look at this beautiful boy. The banner obviously is an optional bit, depending on whether or not you give him the Banner of the Swine Lord upgrade. I mean, you could build him with it and not give him the upgrade, see if I care. But let's talk a little bit about the material. So these are HIPS plastics, so very sturdy, hard plastic kit like you'd get from a company a lot larger than Metal King Studio that's just run out of my garage. But we've got, it's a little bit shinier than the plastic you would get from Games Workshop, and it's a little bit harder. So, but otherwise, I think it's a wonderful premium product, really nice plastic with very nice detail. So you see that square shield. We've got some optional shoulder pieces. And I wanted to show you guys also a look at the level of detail that we've got. So I actually do all of my sculpture digitally. You may have seen some of my how to sculpt videos. And this is a 3D print of the digital sculpt. This resin's a little bit lighter gray, obviously, so it can be a little hard to see the detail, but you'll notice, or I can see at least, you can trust me, that actually the level of detail that we see in these plastic kits is higher fidelity to the original sculpt than the 3D print even, which I thought was really wonderful. I was sure that I would be losing detail compared to these really, really high quality 3D prints that I'm able to make. But actually, because the mold for these plastic models is straight from the CAD file that I delivered, cut into the mold, we have like a perfect little representation of every little dent that I added and every scratch. There were details, that I sculpted kind of thinking that it would like look good in the renders and it'd be harmless. But like there's a little bit of like cracked leather detail on that strap that I never expected the drill bits that they used to carve the mold to be able to replicate. But we actually have like a perfect replication. This is realistically the best, most faithful reproduction of any of my sculpts that we've made so far, which is really incredible because the metal models, actually the molds are so accurate that you can end up with fingerprints. If you made the model traditionally with putty and you had a fingerprint in it, the fingerprints can come out. So you get like really terrific detail. I put some ink on this metal model to try and make it read better on screen, but you can be the judge of whether this is possible to tell what you're looking at or not. But I will say metal models have terrific fidelity of detail. But there are two steps that, and well, maybe even three, depending on how you count them, steps that lose detail. So first we have the fact that I did the digital sculpt and then I have to 3D print it. And so I do the very best quality print I can get, but you do lose a little bit of detail from the computer file to a physical print. And that happens from, supports or the angle or all kinds of stuff. There's always a little tiny compromise. Maybe you lose 1% of detail, and that's just part of the fun. And it doesn't really matter because we're going to spray paint them and paint them anyway. So there is a level of detail that is meaningless, to be honest. But you do lose a little bit from the file to the print. And then the print goes and gets a mold made of it. And then you demold it, and then you end up with mold lines, which is one of the famous compromises of the mold making process. And we're all used to scraping molds, and there will be mold lines on production plastics, of course. But then that master cast then also gets a new mold made, and so you end up with another layer of reproduction where you can lose a little bit of detail. And then another thing that can happen is a little bit of deformation. So I've had models get squished, or the mold can get damaged. Like here you can see, let me get a little tool to point this out. You can see here there's a little bit of metal there between the tail and the butt that's not really supposed to be there, or behind the tusk on this face, there's like a little bit of detail that got damaged. And that's really that's my fault for having undercuts on the mold, which they use a very expensive computer program to check the draft on all the parts. And then we end up with all these multi-part models. Whereas when I'm doing metal, I'm trying to do as few parts as possible because it can be pretty difficult to assemble too many small parts on a metal model. It's not my preference. And so, I was able to keep the parts pretty limited here. We've got a body, 2 arms, and a head for pretty much all of these guys. It's pretty straightforward assembly, and they fit together really nicely. And the keying is very well defined. You can see that peg there where the head slots on, and then it comes out really, really clean. That's pretty good. There are details about this sculpt that just really lead to the possibility of some strangeness, like the fact that there's hair here, or the fact that there's just musculature to musculature, so there's nothing really hiding that seam compared to if you were assembling like a Space Marine, a robot plate connecting to another robot plate. There'd be like a natural seam there that would hide that. But these naked barbarian pigs, the musculature where it connects actually came out really clean. I'm happy about that. Like this arm and this body are separate, and this arm and body are separate here. And with plastic glue, you'll be able to meld that even more. But yeah, I'm really, really happy with the engineering the company I'm working with was able to do to get the draft correct. Worked really well. They were able to retain a lot of faithful detail to my sculpts without too fiddly of assembly or too many compromises of detail. I think in the end we ended up with, like I said before, probably some of the best representations of my actual art that we've ever had in miniature form, and as hard plastic, very durable. I mean, if you're a savage like me, you can throw these in a shoebox after you paint them and they'll be good to go. But of course, most responsible people don't do that with their miniatures. Now, I wanted to show you some of these models. These are the battle pigs that are available now, and I sculpted these originally in 2015. Maybe you can see the little 15 there on the tab. And I've learned a lot since I sculpted these about miniature making and my style. Like the style for Relicblade has evolved. This is one of the newer Battle Pig characters, and they work next to each other, but this guy has a little bit more of the more contemporary, where I'm pushing the cartooniness of the characters a little bit farther than trying to match a more true scale or whatever I was going for with the original. I'm really embracing more of the Relicblade style with these. This model's from 2020, and so 5 years after this, so 2015, 2020, and now 2025 is when I sculpted this. But it'll be released in 2026. They look a little bit bigger in this camera because this guy's not on a base, but they actually blend in really nicely next to each other. You can see in some of the promotional photography that the metal models and the plastic models are like really nicely scaled, nicely detailed, and fit together really well. So not only has my skill grown, but technology has gotten better, and I think we're going to end up with a very, very nice battle pig for a new age of Relicblade. So that's what I wanted to show you. Thanks for checking it out for my very casual little review or preview of the new plastic set for the Relicblade Battle Pigs.